And it's a very good evening to our fellow audience here joining us for the Track Stars Formula 2 here at round 4 for the Australian Grand Prix. Yes, we are not bringing you the Albert Park layout in just outside the district of the Sydney, the central business district of Melbourne. We're actually bringing it all the way here at the wonderful Mount Panorama Bathurst, where we've seen many historic races here throughout the olden days, but never before we've seen Formula cars until only recently, where we saw the S5000s, I believe it was last year, and I think the year before they actually introduced those cars driving around the circuit there, as well as the old Formula 4 championships that we used to have back at Mount Panorama. So there's plenty of open wheel racing history around this circuit, but it's been a staple mate for the Track Stars Racing Series, having the SF19 Dolaras, the Toyota and Honda engine-powered SF19s here at this 6.213 kilometer circuit. I'll be the only commentator here for the live stream, and I'm Nick Patasso, joining you for what is going to be an exciting race here. 16 drivers here in our lobby, ready to go. We had 6 pre-qualifiers coming through. That was led by our Malaysian in HPR 82. And then it was followed closely by Mr. Jarman Dallas, the series administrator. And then as well, I believe, was his teammate in Miller. So there's a lot of, we've got a fair few It's Racing drivers joining us in the top split lobby with Mr. Ryan Palmer leading the way in the It's Racing camp. And then he's got his fellow 3 drivers behind him working. They're going to work together and try and get themselves a victory. But let's try and see if we can go find some drivers on track, and hopefully the levels are okay. So if anyone can just let me know on how the sound is, that would be fantastic. Because I want to make sure I get this right first go. Speaking of man on board, the man that is one of the volunteer marshals here that supports the Supercars series, that always comes to Mount Panorama. He's going to take us through a lap of Mount Panorama. We're going to go exiting off Hell Corner and up this long mountain straight up. Never mind then. Okay, thanks, Ryan. I was going to give you some airtime, but anyway, all good, my friend. Let's see if we can find anything else that might be on the circuit. We've got HBR 82, our fellow Malaysian. As I did say, the fastest pre-qualifier with a set of blistering pace of a 1 minute 41.5. So a great pace from Malaysia. We've got some really fast drivers in here that are ready to go, tackling this fortress that is known as Mount Panorama. Just giving us the all clear. We are ready to go for the qualifying session. 10 minutes for this session here. Everyone will need to make sure they spread themselves out, because the laps do come thick and fast, and you really don't get too much of an opportunity to have another bite of the cherry, especially around this track, because mistakes are very prone here, especially on the exit of turn 1 on Hell Corner. So you can see HBR just really lose the back end of that. A very crucial corner for getting that section right up towards Mountain Straight and then into Griffiths. And there we go, qualifying is now underway. We'll get on board some of the drivers in a very short period of time. But let us know where you're watching the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you're supporting. Let me know who your Monopoly money is on for the winner, for your pole position man, and also the winner of the Track Stars Formula 2 for round 4 at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Getting ourselves underway through the qualifying. Everything sorted out for you, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. Looks a bit better. So So first man leading on the track, as I did say, was the man that is one of the volunteer race marshals here at Mount Panorama that follows the Supercars calendar. The Supercars journey is throughout the Sydney and New South Wales region. He does some adventures through Sydney Motorsport Park, but also does a few jobs around at Mount Panorama. So the number 16 for It's Racing Esports is going to be guiding us through his first hot lap here of the 6.213 kilometre. Very tricky circuit, especially in a Formula car that can be very unstable. A lot of downforce. You think it's going to be quite quick, so you think a low downforce setup for the drivers this evening to make these cars really quick, because it's all about getting the section at the top of the hill, especially quickly, as he just gets turn one all out of shape there. And that's what I said before, exactly what I said. You need to get that turn one right, because you don't, it just ruins the race. It ruins your lap. You cannot get that time back. You lose it easily. About 3-4 tenths going up into Griffin. But we have Race Pig so far saying the benchmark was 16.4 in the first sector. We go back to Nismo. He set himself up into a 16.5 into that first sector. Now we have Lansdale not able to improve to 16.3. We go back up through the Race Pig as we go on board with the man who is occupying third place in the championship. So the top three, Robbo Sport Racing, Curry leading the way, followed closely by Burke in the 486, who took the victory last time out at Fuji International Speedway. A great win by the man in car 486, and then also with Ward in third place, is putting on some stellar performances, not only in Formula 2, but as well in the main series in his last two occasions at Interlagos and at Suzuka Circuit. But exiting Forest Elbow onto Conrod, really trying to get the hammer down, really trying to plan how you're going to brake going into the chasing, because this is one of the crucial parts of the circuit that you need to get bang on. Don't clip the curb on this side here, because it will unsettle the car. Especially don't clip the curb here on the left hand side. Just runs wide, but he might get away with that. You'll lose a couple of tenths from that. Going into Murray's for the end of his first lap, he's going to be setting himself up for at least about a 1 minute 42. I will be thinking a 1 minute 42 into the 43, so 43 flat so far is the benchmark by Pig. And what about Nismo right behind? Well, actually, who would that be ahead of him? Looks to be... Oh no, it is, that wasn't Nismo, that was just Palmer who's doing his outlap. But so far, he's still set the benchmark. Lansdale in second place, who is the fourth place man in the championship as well. He's holding on to P2 at the moment, right behind Race Pig, also in the standings as well. Then we have now Dallas crossing the line in third place. Hypnotic in fourth, doing a very good job there for WTCR Racing, one of the brand new teams. Oh, as he just gets it all sideways going through Griffins. That was amazing. What a great save by the man in car 420. And there we go, the first man into the 1 minute 40.9. So benchmark time there. He just says, bang, thank you very much. I'm going to park this car up, because I don't think anyone's going to get that. Looks like Burke has managed to come through with a good lap time as well. So he sets himself with a 1 minute 41.4. So he's just over 4.5 tenths behind HBR. But wow, what an authoritative lap there that was by HBR. I think he's just going to probably park it up in the garage and just not come out. But you'll need to keep an eye out on the rest of the drivers. If you look through down the rest of the grid, we have Rudzi's come up at the end of his first lap at 1 minute 42.5. Racebig has dropped down to P4 after taking that initial first place until it was taken away by HBR. But coming around the final corner very squarely on the exit of Murray's, won't be getting into the 40s, but he's set a 41.3, so the lap times is getting quicker. They are getting quicker here, and Pig has found a lot more time in that. Palmer's come through with a 1 minute 41.2, so obviously the lap time that HBR sent was really good, but I wonder, the track conditions might be getting better. He might need to think about within the next couple of minutes to think, is he going to commit to another lap, or is he going to just stay put and settle for what he's set, for what position he lays in. But we have Burke coming in 7 tenths faster, and he's got the benefit of a tow from his teammate in Balding, just right up ahead. So he's got the benefit of the toe and with the overtake. Will Balding pull out over to the side to give Burke the run into Murray's? He won't. He'll stick behind him. So this will hamper him just a little bit on the exit of Murray. But can he get himself into the mid-40s? He does. It's a 1 minute 40.9. 5.7, so just pips HBR for provisional pole position. But that really cost Burke big time. He stayed behind his teammate for so long. His teammate didn't get out of his way. Because had he got out of his way, he was actually 6/10 up going into the chase. So big, crucial, huge mistake there by men in Robert Sport Racing, especially being held up by Flyboarding. And I want to not putting any down spiral on Fly's performance. He's settling himself in nicely up into 9th place still. So he has every right to keep with that current place. He wants to make sure he gets the Robo Sport Car 72 up at the front as well. So he's only 0.1 down on his personal best. So he's going to be looking to find some more time. But man, Burke could have done a lot more had he not been held up there. But the one man I'm surprised to see down here is Curry. So the championship leader, car 43. Hasn't set an actual lap time yet, so he's just waiting. He's probably he's trying to burn the fuel, maybe save up a lot of his overtakes, so that way he can use it towards the end of the session. But coming through into Murray's, gets the corner well executed. Can he get himself well into the 40s? It's just a 41 flat, so wow, man, the times are getting so close here, ladies and gentlemen. What are we looking at? Between the top 5, we're looking at 0.3 of a second. This is incredibly close here, ladies and gentlemen. And just like predicted, HBR 82 has come out, and he's going to be setting himself another lap and try and see if he can get himself a better lap time. But the benefit that he has compared to Burke, he's actually got clear air. So HBR is going to be looking in very nicely to try and make sure he can get a really solid lap here for one last time. You could probably get at least 2 more laps. And we have Burke not really improving his lap time. So as we look down through the rest of the order, we have Lansdale that's come through with a very nice time there, but in heavy traffic there. One with the WTC cars and also with It's Racing Esports in Miller. Oh, very congested, and Lansdale will be fuming. He was only 0.015 down on his personal best, so that section is really going to hurt him. But he's got one more lap to try and prove that he can be a fast driver. As we see Rudzi trying to make way for drivers, and it's so tricky around here in the mountain, especially going down through the downhill section. It is so tricky to get out of people's ways, so the congestion is incredible. Palmer's come through with a 1 minute 40 flat. So that's another authoritative statement there by Mr. Palmer in first place, car 16. A 1 minute 40 flat. That is an incredible lap there by the man at It's Racing Esports. An awesome lap there by Palmer. What responses have we got here? What about Burke? He can try and get one more lap, and he's lost it. And that's his qualifying session done. He's just dropped it back into the pit lane. And that is all over. And we have HBR as well. So HBR looks like he was caught up in that incident as well with Burke on the entry of the chase. So he's out of qualifying as well. So the only man that could possibly take out provisional pole position could potentially be Curry. And he scored purple, 0.1 in the first sector. So this is a very crucial section as we go on forward with the man. And he's gone wide and he's lost his car. Oh, he's just saved it. My goodness, what a save there by Curry for Robo Sport Racing. But that's going to compromise him. That's going to hurt him big time. Well, let's look down through the Pig. Pig is on to the back straight. Well, sorry, we'll say Ward. Ward is on the back straight. He's not improving as well, so he's 0.9 down, so his session is over. Rudzi could be a potential candidate to try and take a bit of time. He's only 0.5 off his personal best, but it doesn't look like it's going to be into the 40s, unfortunately. Dallitz as well could be a potential as well, but I'm not so sure, ladies and gentlemen. The only man, and Curry's pulled the pin, he's said he's had enough. So that error that he had at turn 2 at Griffin's really cost him, and he was so comfortably, he was almost 0.15 up. As we look through, We have Ward that didn't improve his lap time. Lansdale didn't improve. Rudsey didn't improve as well. So Dallas could be potentially, he might be able to, he's gone for, looks like he could be on for a good time here. He might be able to get himself into the front 5. But can he get himself up towards the front road next to his teammate? No, it's only P7. Finds 9/10 of his lap time, but not enough to take that pole position away from Palmer. And then the last few drivers coming through. Fly Balding hasn't come through, unfortunately, in 10th place. We have Sharp in 12th, improved his lap time, but not enough to take out pole position. And I believe that's the only drivers we're going to have. So, my goodness, what a lap that was. Take a bow. Take a bow, Palmer. That was a brilliant, brilliant lap there. That was absolutely amazing there. Put authoritative 8/10, nearly 9/10 on Burke in second place. So last time out winner in Fuji is hold on to second place. Insanely close. As we look through to the results screen, we have Palmer in first, then we have Burke in second, and then also in third place. So the fastest man in pre-qualifying is cemented that status as being one of the fast drivers in Lam in third place. So doing a great job. So the Malaysian driver doing so well. Curry, the championship leader, in fourth. And then we have Ward in fifth, Lansdale, Dalitz, and then Rudd in the top 8. Whilst we have Guyder in ninth, Oates, Balding, Miller, Sharp, Severi, and Hypnotic rounding up the 15. So that's actually that's an interesting surprise as well by Hypnotic in 15. So he must have had a really bad qualifying session. My goodness. This is going to be some exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If Palmer can get through those first few corners without any damage on his car, I think he could potentially run away. But you have to look at the guys behind him. You've definitely got the guys such as Burke. You've got Lamb as well. He could be the dark horse this evening. Come through the pre-qualifying. He could potentially throw a spanner in the works. So only 3 drivers in the 1 minute 40s. But man, the times are so close between Burke, Lamb, and Curry. Nothing in it. That's insanely close between second to fourth. So great job by our drivers. We're about to get underway. Please let me know who you've got your Monopoly money on, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot wait to see who's going to come out on top of round 4 for the Track Stars Formula 2 for the Australian Grand Prix, here held at Mount Panorama Bathurst, just over 2 hours west of Sydney, into the glorious, picturesque, stunning scenes in the mountains at Bathurst. We are going to get ourselves a race winner here very shortly, but who's going to come out in turn 1 into the lead? As we go to the camera modes, we've got Palmer on pole, we've got Burke second, Lamb third, and Curry fourth. These could be the men that could be trying to potentially win the race this evening. But we have some good candidates on the outside as well. So we wait for those lights to go green. We're about 3, 4, 5 red lights. The revs rise here at Bathurst, and we are underway. Green flag racing, and a brilliant start there by HBR. My goodness, the best launch out of everybody comes through to P2. As we look down through the field, hopefully it's all clean free. Yes, it is. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. But Palmer still taking the lead away from the guys in Burke, in 5th place. So Burke's actually dropped down to 6th place. So from 2nd to 6th, a shocking start by Burke. And he's getting well thrown down the order there. He's under pressure from Rudd in the Steel City MSR entry. And Dallas looks for an inside move through the cutting. Is he going to get that move stick? He doesn't, so he's just going to tuck back in. And then we have Guyder in 9th place, as well as Balding inside the top 10. So a lot of congestion so far in the opening lap here, but relatively clean here by our drivers this evening. So great job by everyone. That's awesome to see. But Palmer still leads over Lamb, so there's just over a second between the 2 drivers. Curry, the championship leader, in 3rd place, and then we have Ward in 4th. So the man that's got some speed and some raw car pace in Ward is in 4th place. Lansdale holds on to 5th place, so the first of the MSR cars in 5th. As we look ahead, there is a move being made by Curry over Lamb. So Curry takes P2 away from Lamb with the help of the overtake. So Curry's done a great job there to get that car clear. And Honda powered versus Toyota powered Dallara SF19s, all very much equal in machinery except for the engine supplier. The guys at the RSR factory have tuned that car up nicely. It looks like Palmer's just run a bit wide going on to Murray's there, so you can see he's losing a lot of time there. So I wonder if he's just seen Curry in the background and just realised, oh, he's made a move on Lamb, and now I'm going to be under all sorts of pressure from the man that is the championship leader. So he doesn't, I think what Palmer needs to do, just keep himself calm, use a little bit of the overtake, but not too much of it, and just run your own race, because the guys need to make sure they do at least 5 laps on those medium tyres around the circuit, because the soft tyres won't really last that long around here. So you've got to play your strategy cards right. So we'll find out in 5 laps time who is on what compounds. We have Palmer leading Curry over HBR in Lamb, Ward in 4th, Lansdale, Burke, Rudd and Dallitz inside the top 8. So Dallitz is putting a lot of pressure on Rudd in 8th place. So the first round winner in Dallitz doing an exceptional job, just trying to find his raw pace that he had at Road Atlanta, where he took a dominant victory after the leaders ran very wide in turn 1 and just cruised on by to take the checkered flag to win the opening round. Was the opening round championship leader, but now fortunately that's gone to Curry in 2nd place. And then we have Oates, the man who we also saw early on in early 2022 and throughout the whole 2021 season, where we saw him piloting in the main series for what used to be the Shadon racing team, partnering alongside the names of Todd Thorburn and Chef Toddy. As we see Sharp in the background get it all horribly wrong there as I heard some tyre squeals coming from that car. But yeah, goes from the main series down to F2, and he's doing himself a great job here to get that car up into 9th place. So he was one of the drivers that missed out, or he's on his 2nd round rather, in the Formula 2 scene, but unfortunately in that 1st round he missed out in the pre-qualifiers and he had to settle in for a split 2 race. So he's going to be looking to put some potential and get that WTCR car up towards the front, as he's actually, he's the lead driver in the WTCR garage with, I thought I saw Guida up there in the early stages of 9th place, so he must have made a mistake on that 1st lap, as we see, 1 minute 56. So definitely something not going right in the WTCR garage between Guida and Hypnotic. So down in 12th, 13th, Sharp after a big mistake in 14th. And then we have Balding all lonely down the back end. So 2 minute 3 on the last lap. So something catastrophic has happened on that lap. So we'll have to find out if we can get any news from his mate in Craig, so he can let us know what happened with his car. But Curry's come through into the lead. Palmer looks like he's made a mistake somewhere. So Palmer's made a huge mistake. I would potentially think that would be down towards the dipper. And Palmer's lost the lead to Curry. So Curry leads on lap 3 of 16 of the Australian Grand Prix. Palmer drops to P2 and now sorts of under pressure from Lamb in 3rd place. So this is a great performance here by Lamb. It's incredible the pace that the man has got from Malaysia. Out of nowhere, just shining lights. Didn't have a great round last time out at Fuji International Speedway. Copped a few penalties through his way in car 82, but he's done a really good job to forget about that and just work in the off season, work with the week off. He's come through flying. He's holding on to P3 very nicely. And then we have Ward in 4th. The man that's got a lot of racing under his belt so far in 2023 in the main series and Formula 2. He's looking to try and see if he can get himself any closer towards Lamb and Palmer. But he's put out a good gap over his next rival in Lansdale. So Lansdale struggling to get onto the back of Ward, is now coming under pressure from Burke. So the man that won Fuji and the man that started on P2 is all the way down into P6 after a shocking start by Burke. In car 486 is down to 6th place, getting it all taily there through the downhill section. And now coming into Forest Elbow, it's really important to make sure he gets that corner right, but just runs it wide. He's going to lose a lot of time going on to Conrod Straight. And we see in the background, Dallas has finally made a move on Rudd, and he gets P7 away from the Steel City MSR driver. So Dallas, the It's Racing Esports team manager, holding on into 7th place. The more mechanical sponsored Cartel Equipment Hire, Dallara SF19 Honda in 7th place, while his teammate in Palmer is up into 2nd place. So he's sponsoring the main sponsor in Cartel Equipment Hire, so that distinct with a very bright livery in the white, orange and black, where Dallas has gone for a more of a traditional speedway style to replicate his sprint car in the real world down in the Murray Bridge. But Dallas holds on to P7, trying to build himself a gap over Rudzi in 8th place. Oates holding on into 9th, and then Severi, the first of the only CP drivers. We had 2 CP drivers in the opening couple of rounds, but with his incredible performance that we saw Campbell at Interlagos, got actually promoted into the main series at the conclusion of the Formula 2 rounds at Interlagos. Went straight in from F2 into the main series and put on an exceptional performance to get P3 on his debut as well. So you can't get anything better than a debut podium after being promoted into the main game. Almost like a Max Verstappen-esque from Toro Rosso to Red Bull. Unfortunately, Campbell's side didn't get the win. Aussie looks like he's made up a few positions up into 11th. He's brought his teammate along into the mix as well. In Guida in 12th, we see Sharp in 13th, and then we see Miller in 14th. So he was running up high as well. That last lap was a 1 minute 55, so something happened to him to drop down to P14, and then boarding and rounding up the rear of the field. But Curry leads the way dominantly, 3.2 seconds ahead of Palmer onto this lap. So it's 1 minute 42, so great consistency from the man in car 43 and the championship leader, putting on some great performances here is car 43 in Curry. Palmer doing a very nice job there, and as we see down here, we see HBR, looks like he's made a mistake as well, so he must have just made it, I don't know, what we think through the chases on it, because now he's going defensive to try and fend off from Burke. But man, that's so unfortunate for Lamb in 5th place. Looking a good job, and Lansdale's had a big mistake there, just caught it in the foreground there. Makes a huge mistake on the exit of Griffins, just kisses the wall on the right hand side. Hopefully it doesn't look like there's any damage, as now we can look on board of what our drivers are on this evening and what tyre compound they're on. So thankfully no damage on Lansdale's car, but he looked to be holding on to P4 very nicely there after Lamb's mistake. So Lamb from 3rd to 5th in the matter of moments. That's what the mountain can do, ladies and gentlemen. You feel like you're comfortable in one position, next thing you know, you're down the midfield section. And look who's coming to play as well. Dallas has come through out of nowhere, so the man that's finding a lot of speed here. So Dallas is making this a four-car train here, led by Lansdale, and Dallas wants to get involved in this. He's thinking he wants to get involved and get that P4 from out of nowhere. Why not? Go on there. Go on, Dallas. And then we have Rudd holding on into P8, so he's lurking in the back, and he's going to look for these 4 guys to make big mistakes ahead of him. And they're going to be pressurising each other. As we look now towards our leaders, we're going to see what tyre everyone is on. So Curry is on the soft tyres, still setting blistering pace. Of course, he would have to be on a soft tyre. Rudzi is the first driver now into the pit lane on lap 7 of 16, going from soft to mediums. Palmer as well is on to the softs. We have Ward on the softs, Lansdale on the soft tyres, HBR. The first of the medium runners is Chris, and he's looking to make an inside move on Lamb. Doesn't make it stick. He will need to break that fraction bit earlier on the medium tyres, but he's going to go around the outside, going through the cutting. No, Lamb cuts the nose off very nicely there. Burke was very well aware of that. It's a great respectable driving amongst those two. But Burke is playing for the long game. He's on the medium tyres, so watch out for him towards the end of the Grand Prix. Then we have Dallas on the soft tyres. We have Oates on the mediums, Severi on the soft tyres, and then now we have Rudds, who's just come out of the pit lane in 10th place on those medium tyres. So he's going to the end, so just try to get those tyres warmed up in the next couple of laps and try and put some pace in. But unfortunately, you can see with this overtake usage, he's used a lot of it. And this is what happens, you know, you get very eager to use the overtake, and all of a sudden you just got nothing left towards the end of the session. Then we have Guida on medium tyres, as he looks to have just skated through the dipper there. Miller on mediums. Hypnotic has just entered the pit lane, he's on the soft tyres now. Sharp is on the mediums, and Boarding has also exited out of the pit lane onto the soft tyres after starting on the mediums. But Curry's still putting on the laps. And now we have HBR and Chris into the pit lane. Just get the camera working there. So both drivers doing a bit of a swapperoo. So Chris Burke is saying, here you go, you can have my medium tyres, give me your soft tyres, Lamb. As we can see ahead, we can see Chris has just pulled up ahead of HBR, and HBR, there he is. So it looks like he's gained a lot of time into the pit lane. And the pit lane entry is very tricky here, but both drivers, thankfully, haven't got themselves that grueling 3-second penalty. But unfortunately for Lamb's case, the pit strategy wasn't right. It didn't look to be going right there. The team managers, the crew chief, didn't actually get him into clear air, so he's now stuck behind Severi from CP Motorsports, trying to think of an outside move through the cutting. Technically not impossible, but very tricky on very fresh medium tyres. So this is going to cost him big time. So the independent driver from HBR in Lamb from Malaysia is getting held up here by the CP Motorsports driver, and Severi has no authority to move over whatsoever. He's not a lap car. Burke was thinking of an inside move there through Skyline. That's unheard of. My goodness, that looked very close there. Almost led to a colossal accident there. Lamb thinking of an inside move on Severi, but unfortunately doesn't get that done. Now he's got himself a better run onto Conrod Straight with the help of overtake. As we have Burke as well, he's going to be hard on the overtake as well, as we see some of the lead drivers coming through into the pit lane now. We have Palmer, and we have Pig, and we have Dallitz in the pit lane. So your P2, P3 and P7 provisional drivers entering the pit lane now. Well, for what they're going to be putting on is the medium tyre. Quick pit stop there by the It's Racing boys in 4th place, but unfortunately he's picked up a 3-second penalty. Oh, this is going to kill Palmer big time. My goodness, and Ward is right there behind him, 0.6. So he's going to lose out big time. Oh no, this is not what car 16 wanted. That grueling 3-second penalty that ruins your race within a heartbeat. And he's the first driver to pick it up, so that's so unlucky for the man that was leading the race and the man that took out pole position. So he's going to have to do a bit of a hard job, but it looks like he's got himself a good gap over Dallitz, and this is very interesting here. Dallitz has actually done the overcut, and he's made that work. He's worked that to perfection. He's made those soft tyres go 1 lap extra to just get that overcut, and plus you have to remember as well that Burke and Lamb were held up by Severi in the years, and Dallas at It's Racing Esports has done a fantastic job for him and his engineer to get him both out in front of Burke and Lamb in 6th place, but unfortunately that might come to an end as we see Lamb coming through, and there is Palmer serving that grueling 3-second penalty. That's dropped him down, that's dropped him well out of the top 5, and now he's getting all hairy on those tyres. He's trying to go defensive on Burke. Burke's going to look for an outside move. You've got soft tyres on medium tyres. Looks for a switchback move as we go on board with Burke battling against Palmer for 6th place. Curry's just come into the pit lane and stayed out on those tyres. He's actually swapped to medium tyres rather, and Burke's just lost a little bit of ground there. Lansdale drops in behind Dallitz, so this has worked perfectly for Dallitz. Oates, unfortunately, has not come into the pit lane just yet. But he will need to make a pit stop to jump onto those soft tyres. So he's out of the running. So he's out of sequence here, but he's holding onto a P2 for the moment. And so far, we have a RoboSport Racing 1-2 with Curry leading the way from Ward. 9.7 seconds between the two drivers, excluding Oates in second place. Dallett's out of nowhere. That overcut strategy working like a treat for the man at It's Racing Esports. Lansdale will take P4 after the pit stop phase is over. Palmer drops down to 6th place. And then we have Lamb in 7th. And then we see Burke with all sorts of struggles as well. So the drivers, they were P1 and 2. Oh, a little bit of contact made between Lamb and Burke. So my goodness, it can get all fiery up here, ladies and gentlemen. This is where all the action is here at Track Stars Formula 2. The battle pack in that midfield, whilst you have the leader in Curry just running away with the victory. Palmer's looking to make an outside move on Lansdale. Lansdale going to try and go later on the brakes. Both are going to hold it side by side, and Palmer does an outside move on the chase. Brilliant overtake by Palmer in car 16, and as I just predicted, Oates is in the pit lane. We'll throw on the soft tyres for the last stint, but man, what a lovely move there by Palmer. Around the outside in the chase, full of confidence. Just runs it a little bit onto the grass there, but still holds on to P4. So they've got a RoboSport Racing 1-2, followed by an It's Racing 3-4. Then we have Lansdale for MSR in 5th place, and the Privateer in Lamb in 6th, and then the third driver from RoboSport in 7th place. I don't know about you, but this is going to be a very fascinating finish here, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be an epic race towards the end. Oates has actually come out inside the top 8, so something's happened to Rudd on one of his laps there. He was the first driver that came into the pit lane, mind you, and he threw on those mediums on early, so it hasn't really worked. The long undercut game hasn't worked for Rudd. It's a different strategy compared to his teammate in 5th place. Then we have the two boys from WTCR in Nismo in 10th. Ah, sorry, I thought that was Hypnotic. So Fly's actually up into 11th now. So he's come through the pack into 11th place. So that's a nice little recovery drive for Balding. Severi in 12th, Hypnotic. Just not having so much luck this season with the Formula cars, just like he had last year. He had some great pace last time out in Formula 2, but this year's just struggling to get his 2023 SF19 up to scratch. So the WTCR boys are going to have to work hard, long and hard into the night for the next week of racing at Dragon Trail for the Croatian Grand Prix to get that car back up to where it should be. Miller down in 14th, and then we have Sharp in 15th, last place, 1 minute 12 behind the leader. That is Curry, who is on Mountain Straight going into Griffiths. 9.6 ahead of Pig, ahead of Ward. In second place, Dallas holds on to P3, just ahead of his teammate in Palmer. In 4th place. Oh, you could see how much dirty air the man has got behind him, with Dallas just punching a hole in the middle there, and just Palmer just getting caught into that wash. Still holds on to P4 no matter what. And then we have Lansdale, who's got himself a good gap now over Burke, and it looks like HBR Lamb has actually made a bit of a mistake there, so he's dropped down to P7. So between these two, between Burke and HBR, they've been exchanging positions left, right, front and centre. This is amazing. So you can't get any close here. So, and also to note as well, everybody inside the top 8 are on mediums except for Oates and Burke in 6th place, but it hasn't worked for them. The soft tyres at the end hasn't worked for these drivers, which has become very interesting to why the soft tyres didn't work in this second stint. Obviously, you can obviously say that traffic played a huge factor in that, especially with Chris and Burke battling with Lamb in 7th place not a back marker, but with Severi holding on into P6 at the time, but they both came out in traffic when in theory they should have come out in clear air. So Burke has not made this strategy work, unfortunately, so he's going to have to think long and hard come the next race at Seaside for the Croatia Grand Prix. So he holds on P6 for now. He might be able to get himself a top 5 if he can get past Landstuhl, but we'll find out. He's gone purple in the first section. So the fastest man so far is Curry, but he set that time on soft tyres. But this train is pretty big here between Dallitz, Palmer, Landstuhl, Burke and Lamb. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7th place. And then they've got themselves a good gap over Oates. So yeah, even Oates is struggling to keep up with these guys. So I think he's down on pace as well. So the medium tyres look to be a little bit more better, look to be a lot better in the later stages as the fuel burns down. So something for the main series drivers to keep their eyes on, that maybe, just maybe, that starting on a harder compound might not be the ideal solution, because the soft tyres may not come up to temperature on the low run. But we're not too sure there. We'll find out very shortly, in just under an hour and a half's time. They'll be live broadcasted by Ryan Palmer himself. So the man holding 4th place will be also broadcasting the stream. As just I said again, Lamb has just gone past Burke into 6th place. So these two are just exchanging positions. My goodness, these guys are going to have a great conversation on how great the battle was between these two. Very well respected racing amongst these two, but they've come very close to Landstuhl. So Landstuhl's lost touching ground to Palmer. He's conceded that he can't go any higher than 5th place, but he needs to do the job to fend off from the fast runners in Lamb and Burke in 7th place. See Palmer make a move now on Dallas. So Dallas, I'm not so sure. I wonder if he actually let that go. Maybe. I wonder if Dallas actually let that position go and gave Palmer the opportunity to take P3. Not entirely sure what happened there. But nonetheless, Palmer takes P3, holds on to the podium position. Won't be really happy with, I don't think he'll be happy with a P3. He'll say it's a great recovery drive after that 3-second penalty, but I don't think he'll be happy with that, because he got pole position, he got a comfortable lead, he lost the lead to Curry, then he had the 3-second penalty, and then he had to fight his way through to get back up into P3. I don't know, I'm not too sure. It'll be a bit of a mixed emotions in the It's Racing Garage later at the end of this race, with Palmer still holding on to 3rd, Dallas 4th, Landstuhl holds on to 5th, and they've got themselves a gap over Burke here, I've noticed. So they'll hammer and tong amongst each other, like basically like carriages amongst them. But now he's got himself a gap over Burke, so maybe the two drivers here still exchanging positions, going side by side. You could probably say if they did that, they would have been going side by side throughout the whole mountain, and we must have just missed it. Nonetheless, Landstuhl still holds on to 5th. Severi gets out of the way from the fast drivers. So he's the first of the lap drivers. And Severi, unfortunately, looks like he's just having some sort of issues there with his car. He's going half throttle there, so something not working with his car. So it looks like a mechanical fault here for the CP entry, car 115. Very unlucky there. Now he looks like he's gone back to full power, but not the race that Severi wanted in the CP Motorsports Dallara SF19 Honda. Very unlucky there. Curry on the mediums has set blistering pace here, 1 minute 40.9. That's incredible pace by Curry on those mediums. Outstanding. 13.2 clear from Ward in 2nd place. Palmer 4.5 behind. It's going to be a little bit too late to try and catch up. You can see him in the foreground there, up ahead, but it's not going to be enough. Dallas in 4th, Landstuhl in 5th. Burke is going to try again. He's not going to give up here. He's still finding pace in that 486 Robo Sport Racing Dallara Honda. He's not the last lap to try and put pressure on Landstuhl. He's on the better tyres, but he's losing grip. He's losing that rear traction that you can see with those rear tyres. Those soft tyres really wear pretty fast They wear really fast, and Burke is not able to make those tyres safe, so I'm not too sure. Can he catch Lansdale on this last lap? We'll find out as they both get towards the end of their final stints here. HBR in 7th, Rudsey in 8th place. As we see, actually, yeah, we see that Rudsey in 8th place, so he's taking that position away from Oates. So Oates looks like he's made a mistake on that lap there. Yeah, there you go. So it's almost a 2-minute lap there by Oates. So he's lost a lot of time. So this is going to be a big battle between these two. Oh, he gets all twitchy and sideways on the exit of Hell Corner. And Oates, unfortunately, just loses a bit of ground, but it's not over for him. He wants to get that 8th place back. Then we have Gardner in 10th, Hypnotic in 11th, Balding in 12th, Miller 13th, Sharp in 14th. Severi, the lap driver, only lap driver here, but we at least have our 15 drivers in for the final time. On Conrad Straight, Curry is just the man that is on form here. The championship leader is about to win his 2nd race of the Track Stars Formula 2. Coming through on the exit of the chase, executed that perfectly. And for the last time at round Murray's Corner, we'll take victory here for round 4 of the Track Stars Formula 2. Big congratulations to Curry, your winner of Track Stars Formula 2 at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Congratulations to Robbo Sport Racing in 1st place, and and the team manager in Robbo Sport will be very happy with Ward coming home in P2 as he's setting up a beautiful RSR 1-2. Then we have Palmer crossing the line in 3rd, Dallitz in 4th, just waiting for his teammate. Lansdale holds on to 5th. Berg couldn't not make a move there, but he got close, 0.7 behind. And then HBR Lamb holds on into 7th place. But this is the battle pack we saw. Oates is going for an outside move. Oh, he's just lost it, so you can't get that position back. Rudd has held on brilliantly to hold on to P8 there. It's a great drive by Rudd. Great defensive driving by Rudd to hold off Oates in P9. And looks like Oates has just gone into the wall there. He's thrown in the towel. He's given up there. Takes 9th. Guida will hold on in 10th place. A nice consistent race for him to hold on to P10. Hypnotic just a little bit all over the place for the WTCR boys in 9th, 10th and 11th. So they've got to go back to the drawing board for those guys to get those cars ready for the Croatia Grand Prix. And then we have Balding in 12th place negotiating Severi, the lap traffic. And then we have the 2 developmental drivers in Miller and Sharp for It's Racing Esports, rounding up 13th and 14th place. My goodness, a dominant win here by Curry and RSR getting themselves a 1-2. Amazing to see that. Great to see the boys up in RSR back at the front, just like we used to see them back in the day. And now for Robinson, he's very happy to see his boys up front. And as we see there, Curry takes out the victory, takes the checkered flag, takes victory lane, and gets himself the line honours here for round 4 of the Track Stars Formula 2. As we go over the results here, we've got Curry, a dominant victory over Ward. And he had to but he had to do it the hard way. Curry had to come from 4th place. He went from 4th to 1st, and he managed to get the lead off Palmer in 3rd place. Oh, that was in 1st place, rather, on lap 3, and he made that move. And then from there, he just never looked back and setting himself a 1 minute 40.9 on the medium tyres as well, which is incredible pace in that Robbo Sport Racing entry. Then we have Palmer rounding up onto the podium. Can be happy, might not be. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to hear his thoughts later on. But Palmer holds on to 3rd. Dallitz holds on to a nice, great P4 there after being down the field for the majority of the first stint, but made the overcut work very nicely. Lansdale holds on to a respectable P5. Burke, unfortunately, on those soft tyres, couldn't get anywhere near the front runners today. Has to consolidate P6. Then we have Lamb in 7th, who had a bit of a nip and tuck between him and Burke. So great racing between the 2 drivers in 6th and 7th. Then we had Rudd just fending off from Oates in 9th place. And then we have Guida, Hypnotic, Fly, Miller, Sharp, and then the first of the lap drivers in Severi in 15th. But that is the conclusion of the coverage here, ladies and gentlemen. So it's time now for the driver of the day here for Track Stars Formula 2. And I don't think you can put it past it, ladies and gentlemen. I think the man that deserves it is going to be the man that took the victory from fourth to first, put on a great show and put on some fast laps on those medium tires. The award's going to go to Curry. So big congrats to Mitch Curry from RoboSport Racing, taking out the driver of the day, the commentator's driver of the day. So well done to the man who is the championship leader. He extends his championship lead over Ward in second place. But that is it for me. We're going to give ourselves a few more minutes before we get the coverage underway for the Formula Track Stars for round 4 at the Australian Grand Prix. So hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in just over an hour's time. But for me, and Nick Patasso, and for the rest of our Formula 2 drivers, thank you so much for tuning in to the series. And we'll see you guys next time for the Croatian Grand Prix.